How's it going, everybody? JP here at my local draft house, about to watch the new Final Destination Bloodlines. I'm just minutes away. Spent the last couple of days trying to rewatch all the original films, trying to get caught up on everything, kind of get refamiliar with everything. And I wasn't looking forward to this movie, I gotta be honest. I've tried to stay away from the trailers as much as possible. My excitement is not very high, but I mean, the series as a whole is kind of a mixed bag. There's been a few good ones, one really bad one, so we'll see if it ends up being good or not. And I'll let you know what my reaction is when it's over. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's good. You know, in my life, typically when I watch a new movie, there are some movies that I watch and there's no doubt in my mind that I really enjoyed it and I will continue to love it as time goes on in rewatching the movie. There are movies that I watch and I pretty much know right off the bat in my mind that they suck, they're a piece of shit, and I don't care to watch them again if I can help it. You know, not all movies are created equal, unfortunately. Then there's the in-between. And that's kind of where Final Destination Bloodlines falls for me. The in-between of, I don't know if I did like it or I didn't like it. I'm very unsure. I'm unclear right now. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it at this point. I mean, I had stated in my initial video before the movie that I did go back and rewatch all 5 movies. I had a lot of fun doing that. I hadn't seen the movies in a few years for whatever reason, so it was nice to go back through them all. They're not all great, but again, there's no such thing as a perfect franchise. And my expectations, as I said, were not very high for this one, mostly because the last movie came out 14 years ago. I wasn't expecting, nor was I looking or asking for another movie. I was satisfied with the franchise as it was. I was happy that it was dead and gone. I expected maybe somewhere down the road they might do some kind of a revamp, a rehash, a remake, whatever the hell you want to call it, requel, whatever the fuck. I don't know. There's so many different words nowadays. So expectations weren't exactly very high for this movie. When I heard that it was coming out, I did my damnedest to stay away from the trailers, as I had mentioned before, but but like I said, I give everything a fair shake. But right now, I'm on the fence. I don't know how I feel about the movie. I think there is a reason why I'm unsure about it, but I'll talk about that after I watch it a second time and see if maybe this situation that I'm talking about is maybe what initially kind of tarnished my viewing of it a little bit and kind of threw me off. And so we'll just have to wait and see. I have a ticket to go watch it again. It starts here in about 20 minutes at my local draft house, so I will be back in just a bit, and we'll see if my opinion changes at all. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so I'm back from watching Final Destination Bloodlines for a second time. I found it to be more enjoyable the second time around. Now that I had mentioned before there was something that I thought was tarnishing my overall opinion, I'll go ahead and talk about that now. When I was watching the movie yesterday, they introduced the idea that there was somebody in the past who had survived that we would potentially get to see, and my expectations kind of got very heightened because I was hoping that they would bring back a previous character who had survived from the previous films. I mean, the list is pretty short, but I had high expectations on them bringing back somebody aside from Tony Todd, which, like I said, we already knew he was coming back anyway. So once we found out that there wasn't anybody from any of the previous films outside of him coming back, I got disappointed because I was really kind of hoping that maybe, what was her name from part 2? Kimberly might come back at some point. I was hoping for something, anything, any previous character aside from Tony Todd, that would be there, and it just didn't happen. And I feel like that overall disappointment just kind of festered in my head after the movie was over, so I had to give it a second viewing. And I'm here to say that second time watching it, I enjoyed it. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. The storyline was actually one of the better ones of the series, in my opinion. The whole dynamic of, you got this whole family that's coming together. Turns out there's one incident that happened way back in, I would say, the 50s or the 60s, whatever year it happened, that ends up influencing not just this family, but so many other families of all these different people that were supposed to die in this opening sequence, that end up being saved by this main character Iris from the get-go. And it influences not only this family, but then there's other families. And that's how they managed to tie it in with the original films. There's a quick nod to Flight 180. There's even a little nod to the barbecue pit that exploded at the end of Part 2. There's a little nod to the log truck that caused the car pileup in Part 2. I kind of enjoyed how they managed to subtly tie all this stuff together. So that actually worked for me, in my opinion. Some of the death scenes, there wasn't really anything that was too over the top or in your face. There were a couple of decent ones, even one in particular where it was just like kind of cringeworthy the whole time it was happening. But I don't know, nothing that really stood out. I did like some of the characters in here. The middle act had a lot more humor than the other two acts, in my opinion, which I felt like kind of livelied up the movie a little bit. There was one character in particular, I forget the character's name. He's got like a bunch of piercings and whatnot. He is probably my favorite character of the whole movie, mostly because whenever he's on screen, he's pretty much stealing the spotlight. He is a lot of fun, his character, and he adds a little bit of comedy to the situations and whatnot. One in particular with a garbage truck, but I won't ruin that. Just wait till you watch it; you'll see what I'm talking about. And right off the bat, the main thing I didn't care for is some of the CG for some of the kills and the gore. There is some decent gore going on here, but I'm not a big CG guy. And there's a little too much of it in this movie. There's not enough practical for my taste. That it's not going to ruin the movie for me, but it just not a big fan of it. But even some of the blood I thought was a little bit too dark. It didn't look too real for me, but again, not all movies are perfect, right? You can't be that way. So down the road, I will probably do a full-on review about what I think about this movie and kind of go into detail, but I'll give it some time to be out and let other people watch it, because right now we're barely on opening day, unless you want to count the Thursday before, which is when I saw it. So I won't spoil anything for anybody, but I recommend if you've watched the original films, even a few of them or all of them, I think you'll enjoy this one. I can say that this is one of the better ones that's come out. And now that I've rewatched all 5 of them, I truly believe this is one of the better ones, for sure. But if you've never seen any of the previous films, I gotta say, I don't think this movie is going to ruin anything for you, because, like I said, the nods to previous films are so minor, so small, that it's not going to ruin anything for you. So if you go in watching this one for the first time and you've never seen the previous films, I don't think it's going to ruin anything for you personally. But that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. So I do recommend checking it out, especially if you're a gore fan. There is some of that. So yeah, give it a shot. You might like it. I can't wait to do a full-on review down the road. But otherwise, I'm glad that my initial reaction of being on the fence is pretty much over and done right now. And can I just say real quick, it was nice to see Tony Todd come back. It's so sad that, his character shows up just long enough for us to find out a little bit about him. That was another thing about this movie that I liked. We got a little bit of a backstory from him, a little bit of extra lore that we never got in previous films whatsoever. I mean, in most of the films, he kind of just shows up and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense why he's there. In Part 5, his presence made a lot more sense, and it was actually a lot better than his previous appearances combined, in my opinion. But in this one, I do like they give him a little bit of lore, and he's part of this overall scheme of how things have been playing out since the initial accident that's supposed to happen back in the beginning of all with Iris and whatnot. So, and even his little speech at the end before he walks off camera, it's a little eerie. It's a little scary in terms of the fact that he is officially, he did die so many months ago. And it almost feels like an eerie send-off of sorts. It almost reminds me of the Ultimate Warrior years ago when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. He showed up on Raw and he gave this great speech as the Ultimate Warrior, Jim Hellwig did. And then he literally died, I think it was like, a day later, a couple days later or something like that. And it just felt eerie. Like, almost like he was giving his eulogy or his goodbye speech. That's what this feels like from Tony Todd. Weirdly enough. But otherwise, his presence in the movie was definitely welcomed, and it was really nice. for what it was. I don't feel like they tarnished his character whatsoever. So, but all in all, yep, I did enjoy it. If you did watch this, thank you very much. And there's still more movies for me to catch up on. I still haven't seen the Thunderbolts, so I'll be hitting that up sometime soon. So don't forget to have fun, everybody, but just not too much fun. Take care of yourself.